Commissioner
of the County of Winona
of the County of Winona
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. And we have a place Commissioner for you to sign. Thank you. Congratulations. You and Commissioner Olson are now vested for the next 4 years.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
All right. County Assessors, Steve Hackett. The oath that we've used this morning has been a traditional oath that's very standard and is the oath that is used in just about all administrations of the oath of office. You notice that the Department of Revenue added in a couple of additional words, and you'll hear that this morning. And I can only think, Steve, that must be a reinforcement of that 50 million that you're going to look at the next day or so. Okay, so we'll start. If you raise your right hand, I, and repeat your full name, do swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will be diligent, faithful, and impartial in the performance of duties of the office of County Assessor for the County of Winona, State of Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability. For those that have joined the meeting this morning, I want to recognize that the assessor's office, all of the personnel are here. And Steve, did you want to just quickly mention a little bit about that, your people, or maybe some?
I just thought it would be kind of nice. We have Jessica Nasalti. She's one of the clerks in our office. She's been with us for 13 years. We have Perry Canopy. He's been in the office since when dirt wasn't in Winona County yet. We have John Conway that's been in the office about 13 years. We have Lindsay Russell, who's been with us about 7 years.
Oh, the dirt and the houses and the buildings of Winona County.
They do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks, and thanks for your service.
Thank you.
I also just want to add that these folks are, as Steve said, on the ground, and when questions come up and they don't seem to match what we understand very well, we usually work together and try to resolve those issues as much as we can. So that really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, folks.
And I wanted to also introduce our auditor treasurer, Sandra Sufla, who does not have to be sworn in this morning, but was here for support for the reporting for the assessor. And we work together. Same thing. Lots of legal descriptions are important for taxation, but they're extremely important for ownership. So it's something that we each have a part in. So we appreciate Sandra being here too.
All right,
Okay,
thank
well,
you.
Thank you very much. And congratulations to all our parties that took the oath of office this morning.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Bob. And we'll be getting your report a little later this morning. Thank you. We will call to order the Winona County Community Health Board meeting. This January 5th, 2021. Item 2, approval of the minutes from December 22nd, 2020.
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Jacob,
Meyer will second.
second by Commissioner Meyer. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Minutes approved. Number 3, chairperson's report. Well, we just met a week or so ago and don't know of too much. I do see there is some question though, and I think maybe Winona County needs to be a little bit more, and we are approving a vaccination plan. I've had questions. In fact, I just had a question from one of my daughters. Why are some people getting it and others aren't? And the priority, and have we set a priority other than what the state of Minnesota is? Okay, and I guess I'm unclear exactly what their priority is. So maybe at some point in time, Karen Sanis or somebody can send out a memo or something to outline what that is. I don't know if others are.
I have, I've seen it on Facebook. Our emergency management has posted it.
I can't trust anything on Facebook anymore. Though.
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Yeah, but
Yes,
it is
Commissioner
available,
Smith.
but that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Commissioner
Madam
Smith.
Chair. Yeah, at the SHAC meeting, they covered at least the first priority. At that time, this was in a report from the department, from Jan, our commissioner. And the first priority is workers in long-term care facilities and frontline workers. So after that, they were following CDC guidelines, and at that time, they had not set the priorities after that. Maybe Karen has more up-to-date information.
I see
Yeah, I
that
did see
Karen
Karen.
has joined us.
Yes, I see.
Yes,
Karen.
I apologize. I was on our incident command meeting and we got lengthy this morning talking about vaccinations. So what were your,
Amen.
yeah.
All right, so
Yes.
you're up on the topic.
Yes, yes, I am very brand new, up on the topic, latest and greatest news. So what are your questions?
Well, can you give us a real quick, what Winona County's plan is, and do we have the vaccines currently available? And are there clinics, or again, there's questions in the public of how to prioritize, who's the prioritized clientele?
Sure. And we're talking about doing a press conference on this, being that we have our plans more solidified right now. So what we are doing right now, we are in phase 1A, which means that we are vaccinating all of our healthcare workers, which our healthcare workers are being vaccinated through Winona Health or Gunderson. They are getting that Pfizer vaccine, which is that sub-zero vaccine that is extremely cold. And so they are doing that. And then our long-term care facilities, any of our assisted livings, any of our nursing homes, any of our long-term care facilities are working with our pharmacies. The primary pharmacy that they are working with is Walgreens. They can also work with CVS to be able to come into those long-term care facilities to provide those vaccinations for the residents and the employees of those facilities. Those are our first priorities at this time. Our vaccine, as far as our Moderna vaccine, we've received, I believe, 200 doses, and we are working with all of our, anybody that is going to be providing any types of vaccinations to the community is in the priority 1A category. We are currently doing all of our EMS, law enforcement, ambulance, any of those responders will be, we are actually doing our last clinic tonight in Goodview. We did one yesterday, last evening in Lewiston. So we continue to be able to provide that vaccine to the community. Our next steps are going to be anybody in that age group of, I believe, 75 and older, any children or young adults that are high risk that have maybe disabilities or underlying health conditions that would be high risk of a fatality if they contracted COVID. They will be part of that high risk category. Anybody working within our public health that is doing the face-to-face contacts with any of our public to be able to provide not just COVID vaccines, but vaccines in general. So we continue to work on that. We are going to be also providing the vaccine for our child protection workers who kind of always get lost in the shuffle. They're not really EMS, but they are, and they're not really first responders, but they are out there in the public doing a lot of in-home services. So we are putting them in with our what is called our 1C, which is like all of our public employees and responders in that area. So we will be working on that kind of with our plan. But we are working with the city right now on potentially doing a press conference to be able to kind of talk about our plans and what we're doing. We will be receiving another 100 doses of the Moderna vaccine today that we will begin to get out to the public. We have several of our retired nurses that are willing to come in and volunteer to be able to help us with our clinics and moving forward. So we felt our biggest obstacle at this point is just getting enough of the vaccine to be able to get it out to the community. That we're not really worried about getting our community vaccinated once it's just being able to get the vaccine. And then with the Biden administration coming in, we're kind of curious to see how if that will impact the rollout of vaccine administration. So.
Thank you. I think a press conference would be very good to let the people out there know what's going on, because there are questions.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree.
All right, just a side comment. My husband said, "Why do they use such a big needle?" He's diabetic and takes a shot every day, and he has very tiny needle. He said, "Why are they using such a big needle?" I didn't authorize the size of the needle.
Because it's an intermuscular, a diabetic does what's called a subcutaneous,
Okay,
which
all
is
right,
just
now
under the skin.
now I have an answer for him.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that update. Appreciate it.
You're
Appreciate all your
welcome.
work and getting this all coordinated and figuring it all out. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a great team. Karin is part of it. And Ken comes on in the mornings and everybody's really supportive. Everybody's solution focused and how to best serve the public. So I just cannot, again, thank our team and how we just work together so well. And I'm so proud and happy to be part of this organization to be able to move this forward and get this out to the public. So.
All right, thank you. Moving on, item 4, consent business. 4.1 is approved Minnesota Department of Health Community Health Board Grant Project Agreement for COVID-19 Pandemic Vaccination of the purchase contract with the Driftless Region Vector Control LLC for mosquito abatement services. Any discussion, any questions?
I'll move to approve 4.1 and 4.2.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Olson to approve 4.1 and 4.2. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, approved. General business, I think Karen covered everything that I had concerning health. Anything else before any other members of the board?
I would like to just kind of provide some information as far as the logistics of
Okay.
MDH for the Minnesota Department of Health and the the Department of Human Services and their signature, the DocuSign that we're getting. So we worked out a process internally. Kendra, our support services supervisor within Health and Human Services, is going to be our point person. She will be the individual that will assure that everything has gone through the county board before there's a signature. So we can't stop MDH or or DHS from sending the signature request to the county chair. So that will continue, but whoever becomes the county chair and needing to sign, don't sign anything until you get communication from Kendra that contract has been approved by the county board. So she will kind of be the gatekeeper with those contracts.
Well, okay, you raised a question, Karen. Is that the chair of the community health board or the county board chair that signs those?
county board chair at this point that's getting this is Kendra.
Yes,
The
Kendra.
county board chair and the county administrator are the point people at this point?
I will continue to delete because they've been sending me lots of things and I just delete them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So with this
Ye-
electronic signature, a signature isn't what it used to be.
Exactly. Well, and then also they just put it on this rotation, like every 5 days they send it out to you.
Okay, I think as long as we got a process and Kendra's the gatekeeper, we'll use that. Good. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Appreciate that follow-up. Okay. Any other business before the Community Health Board?
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Jacob to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second by Kavesi.
Second by Commissioner Kavesi. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, Community Health Board is now adjourned. Thank you. And start the Winona County Board, January 5th, 2021, with the Pledge of Allegiance. So please rise. One. Our agenda today, we will be having, for those out in the hinterlands, we will be having a public comment in just a moment. But our first call to order is election of chair and vice chair, and for the Winona County Board for the year of 2021. And I will nominate Commissioner Steve Jacob for chair.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Meyer.
I will nominate Commissioner Ward for chair.
I'll second that.
We have a, okay, so I have a nomination for Commissioner Ward made by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Olson. I have a nominations for Commissioner Jacob. Do I have a second for that nomination? Do I have a second for that nomination? All right. Are there any other nominations for chair? Are there any other nominations for chair? Okay, I guess we'll proceed to vote. We'll do a roll call vote. The nomination for Commissioner Ward to be chair for 2021. Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
and I guess Ward will vote aye if that's the wishes of the board. I thank you for that show of support. My biggest hope is that we can all get back in person. I do not like these virtual meetings. They're getting old, and I've always said we're in the people business, and it's hard to be in the people business when you're not, together with people. So proceeding there, we will nominations for vice chair. I will nominate Commissioner Jacob for vice chair. Do I have a second? Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
I will nominate Commissioner Meyer.
Okay, we have a nominations for Commissioner Meyer. Is there a second for that nomination?
Commissioner Kavesi, second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Are there any other nominations for vice chair? If not, we'll proceed to vote. Roll call vote. Commissioner Meyer?
Just a clarification. Did
Yes.
Commissioner Jacob have a second?
No.
Okay. All right, I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Commissioner Kavesi?
Commissioner Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob?
Jacob, aye.
And Commissioner Ward votes aye. So, all right, congratulations. We have myself as chair and Commissioner Meyer as vice chair. All right, and we want no more pandemics, no more major issues to come before the board in 2021.
And we all want to get everyone vaccinated.
Yeah, we want to calm, quiet.
Amen.
2021. All right, so in our agenda, we are now at the public comment. And again, this is 2 minutes for each speaker. Please state your name and your address and anything anybody wants to address the county board about this morning. Please step forward or speak or unmute. There was a number of people on the sidebar. Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Tina Leonard from Minnesota City.
Tina, good morning.
Good morning. Hope you all are well. I normally don't do this, but I felt the need or felt compelled to just make a statement. And I also sit on a public board, and so I really debated about doing this. I've read the newspaper about the daily situation in our county and what the judge's ruling was. And I feel like I need to make this statement, and I do it with the utmost respect. The board of commissioners represents all the people in Winona County, even though you are voted in by district or ward. But, and I know how much you want to represent your constituents to the best of your ability. You also have a moral obligation to do what's best for all involved on the facts. The Dailies did not have a chance when 3 women were placed on the committee after they spoke publicly, wrote publicly against them. They should not have been placed on that board. We did not need a judge to tell us that. Their minds were made up. They did not go into that with an open mind. And your board did nothing to stop that. As a matter of fact, those persons or person who put them there, I feel should really step down from the board. This is an example of government corruption, and I never thought that this would happen in our own county. What we are to do, what I would like the Board of Commissioners or the commissioners to do is really to think about how to look at ag. Ag provides economic stability and jobs. It supports many businesses, feeds many mouths. And unfortunately, we are a dying breed. And it doesn't matter what type of farmer we are all in this together, and we should all be a part. Ag provides jobs in our county, and we are a dying population, and we are expected to feed the world. And I think that we should work together to do what's best for the people in this county and all our farmers, whether land, crop, organic, big, small. And I was really disappointed to see that's what happened in our own county. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tina.
Yep, thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to address the Winona County Board? Is there anyone else wishing to address the county board?
I'll go. My name is.
Just one second. We got a lot of, we're getting a lot of feedback here in the boardroom. So if anybody can mute their mics, that might help. Because the speakers are cutting out. I apologize, but the speaker is cutting out. So let's try it. Who's there, please?
Hi, my name is Bonnie Hammock. I'm at 805 East 2nd, Easton, Winona. I'll read my statement. We elect representatives to advocate for the will of the people. Elected representatives do not need to make decisions based on their own beliefs or limited experiences. They must only look to the people they represent, testimony to their lived experiences, and their beliefs for what is needed in our community so they can represent the will of their constituents. The outcry you all heard about the jail size explicitly linked access to systems of care and preventative services to the size of the jail population. Access to services decreases contact with law enforcement, inherently reducing incarceration rates. These are not separate conversations. That being said, the CJCC is not the body to explore social services, as they are an arm of the criminal justice system and therefore use the carceral lens to view solutions. Social services can inherently reduce incarceration. While diversionary, they are not a diversion program to be administered by the CJCC. Because you have chosen to separate the conversation of social services from the size of the jail, I urge you to not dismiss the testimony of the people that these decisions will affect once again. We know what is best for us. But to work, we did not elect you to make decisions for us, but to work in democratic tandem to advocate for the resources we, the people of this community, find most important. I urge you to take seriously the gathering of input from community members on social services and what criminal justice means by employing an outside facilitator to help broaden your perspective and hear from the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bonnie. Is there anyone else wishing to address the Winona County Board? Is there anyone else wishing to address the Winona County Board? And for the last time, is there anyone else wishing to address the Winona County Board? Seeing nobody, thank you. Thank you very much for your public comments. We will be discussing, Bonnie, your, the issue comes up later in our agenda about the gathering of information, so stay tuned. Item 4, approval of the county board meeting minutes from December 22nd. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Jacob. Do I have a second?
Commissioner Kavesi, second.
Second by Commissioner Kavesi. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Commissioner Olson, you were muted. Did you vote aye?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you. Thank you. All right, passes. Item 5, acknowledge of the approved committee minutes. And that was the, just 1 second here. That's the,
Planning Commission.
yeah, the Planning Commission minutes.
I move to approve or acknowledge, and that should probably be 5.1, not 4.1.
Ah, yes, you're right.
Second.
Meyer,
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Olson to acknowledge the receipt of the Planning Commission approved meeting minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay. Approved. Item 6, consent comments and approval of the agenda. Commissioner Meyer, or Mr. Fritz, do you have anything?
I have nothing to change.
Okay, Commissioner Meyer,
Nothing for me, thank you.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Nothing for me, thank you.
Commissioner Olson,
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Jacob,
Nothing.
and depending on how the meeting goes, I may have a comment. I may have a communications. With that, the consent business, a motion to approve the consent business as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Olson to approve the consent business as presented. I'm sorry, I gotta have Mr. Fritz read that into the record first.
You're approving the agenda.
Yeah, you're right, you're right. Just a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Yeah.
Okay, that,
Move to approve the agenda.
okay, and Commissioner Olson, was that your second to approve the agenda? Okay, all right, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, please vote.
Meyer votes aye.
I'm sorry. I haven't had enough coffee yet this morning. It's a new year. All right, so the agenda is approved. The consent business, Mr. Fritz, would you read that into the record, please?
I'll be happy to do that. Consent business committee recommendation 7.1, approve conditional use permit for Michael and Tamara Heim to allow dwelling of less than 40 acres. 7.2, approve funding request for LIDAR project. Department recommendation 7.3, approve Minnesota COVID-19 Business Relief Fund distribution agreement with the Winona Area Chamber of Commerce. 7.4, award bid and approve contract for 2021 official newspaper. 7.5, approve Minnesota Department of Health Community Health Board grant project agreement for COVID-19 pandemic vaccination planning. 7.6, approve renewal of purchase contract with Driftless Region Vector Control LLC for mosquito abatement services. 7.7, approve renewal of purchase of service agreement with Thomas Allen Incorporated for general case management, waiver funded services to vulnerable children and adults. 7.8, approve renewal of purchase of service agreement with Thomas Allen Incorporated for guardianship conservator services. 7.9, approve renewal of purchase of service agreement for semi-independent living services with home and community options. 7.10, approve resolution for prioritized bridge replacement list. 7.11, designate publication of the transportation projects on county website. 7.12, approve revisions to drug and alcohol testing policy 2.04. 7.13, approve contract with Eilers to provide arbitrage monitoring for 2020 A bond. 7.14, approve write-off of uncollectible accounts. 7.15, confirm payment of disbursements. And that concludes the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Jacob to approve the consent business.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Olson. Any discussion? Just one point I would like, would make it a little easier. A lot of these contracts are renewals, and they're contracts, and I'm, I depend on the legal minds to read these things, but not knowing exactly what's changed. If there is any change from the contract from the previous year, if they could somehow be highlighted, I mean, because technically we don't, well, we could go look them up, the old, contract from their year-to-year contracts, but I guess it would be beneficial to know if there's any change in the contract. Most of them are pretty standard. Sometimes the rate changes with the economics and everything. But I guess if there is any change, it'd be nice to have on the front page of the item, these are the changes that you may want to, be aware of. I don't know if that's too cumbersome or not to
We
add
could
that.
provide, I think, some general information in the RFBA.
It depends on how extensive.
Right.
Yeah.
We could say in the RFBA, the rates changed or something like that. But if it's more extensive, then it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I mean, usually when it comes to our office and we make those extensive changes, we use a tracking form. So
Right.
I don't know if you'd want to see that, but
No, just, because we are approving the contract. So again, if there is anything there, and if there is something major, then maybe we need to, if you feel.
And we point that out to the departments too. So.
Right, okay.
Most renewals don't have a lot of.
Right.
No, they're pretty.
A lot of the state contracts are.
Yes, yeah.
This
But it's
form is from
easy,
2000.
to miss something with all that contract verbiage. All right, if you can't put it on a postcard or a 5x8 or a note card, then it's too long, is what somebody told me once. Don't sign anything that's more than a post-it note. All right, so yeah, if you could add that, I would greatly appreciate it. Any other discussion on the consent items? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Olson to approve. We'll do a roll call. Commissioner Meyer.
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi. Commissioner Kavesi, you're muted. Commissioner Kavesi?
Yes.
We're taking a vote on the consent business.
I can't. I'm not muted. Kavesi votes aye.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob?
Jacob, aye.
And Commissioner Ward votes aye. So consent to business is approved. Moving on, general business. 8.1, receive updated from the Recorder's Department. And Good morning again, Bob.
Yes, good morning, commissioners, Administrator Fritz, and everyone that's with us. Would like to congratulate our new chair and vice chair, Commissioner Ward, Commissioner Meyer, and also recognize Commissioner Jacob and Commissioner Olson for
Madam Chair,
this morning.
Yes, Commissioner, hold on a second, Bob. Commissioner Kavesi, yes.
is there any way to increase the volume on the microphone? I'm having a hard time hearing Mr. Bambenek.
You
Or
can
take your mask off when you're talking, Bob, would be okay too. That might help. Do a sound check. Can, Bob, you want to?
Test 1, 2.
That's
Is
better,
is that
thank you.
better, Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the comment. We still speak louder than normal with the mask, but it doesn't come across very well sometimes. So thank you so much. Well, I first wanted to recognize Commissioners Olson and Commissioner Jacob for taking the oath of office this morning, and they're now vested for the next 4 years as commissioners. And then also for the election of Commissioner Ward as chair and Commissioner Meyer as vice chair. We're very just really pleased with the county board, the interest in county offices, and I think a really, really spectacular report that I have this morning for you. The real estate market has been extremely active, and it may be that the COVID worked in favor of enhancing our real estate and actually doing some refinancing and some home improvements. There are some parts of the country where there are many homes for sale. There are no buyers. That is absolutely not the case in Winona County. We are very, very short on available homes. During 2020, not only was there very high demand for homes, but land and commercial properties. There were 725 homes sold. That's a new high. We had 28 homes sold above $400,000, another new high. And then we had 6 above $400,000 in December, also a new high for that month. And another high, we had 99 homes sold in December, also the top number for that month. Just a lot of activity. The reason that I think this is important is it shows clearly the demand for homes and land in Winona County, and this is also the basis for taxes. So we watch the markets very closely. Our high for a home this past year happened in December, $744,000 for a home in Wilson Township. It's near Waitoka, has a beautiful view of the countryside. There would have been even more homes sold if there would have been more available. We have had countless numbers of people. In fact, during most of the year, there were over 40 people looking for a home that had put bids in. They were outbid. They didn't find a place that somewhat matched their needs. Some of those folks went to outlying communities. Some have found a home, but there's still a good part of that group looking. Nearly 75% of all the homes that sold in the county sold above the county market value. That will be an increase in our, in our taxable value. There have been some homeowners that have located in these rural communities, some in Winona County, some in adjoining counties, but that market is also tightening up and not many homes available on this beginning of the year. We had home construction in rural areas reach a record pace, high numbers of permits by the planning department. It is in response to the biggest number of rural property splits that we've had. The rural property splits, largely wooded areas, hillsides, many of them absolutely very demanding places for a new home. So they fit and it follows county ordinance. We're not all in the middle of the tillable field. So it looks like the interest has really picked up there. And part of that may be because if there are no existing homes, we've had a number of people that did opt to build a home. So building permits, again, very high in 2020. Oftentimes, even with land, numerous parties trying to buy, still more parties looking for land. There were 55 land sales, 17 had existing buildings, so they could, in some cases, be moved into. 16 were woods. Out of that 16, many of them future home sites. And then we had 9 tillable farmland sales. The remaining 13 in that group of 55 had some mixed land. There was a little bit of tillable, some woodland pasture, and it's hard to make comparisons. On the 16 wooded parcels, about 900 acres, the range from the low was $23.82 an acre to a high of $39.99, and that average was $31.14. That's pretty close to our taxable value. The 9 tillable land sales ranged in size from 49 acres to 208 acres, about 1,000 acres sold. The price range, 9,000 was the high, and 49.54 was the low. The average for all of those sales was 6,300 per acre. Prices through 2020 clearly went up. When you look at the residential sales, you look at the land sales, you're going to see some prices at the beginning of the year that clearly people wish were still in place at the end of the year. Significant increase throughout that year. Historically, home interest rates have produced very high numbers of recordings, and at present we have interest rates as low as 1.99. We increased from about 1,900 mortgages in 2019 to 2,500 in 2020. That is a huge percentage increase. And for many folks, they were able to improve their interest rate and also obtain funds to do some home improvement. So we had a lot going there with seemingly with people at home putting time in and improving their living quarters. Right, in the agenda, I had a few of our spreadsheets, just going to mention those real quickly and give you a couple final comments, and I know you have other items on the agenda. We have a handout that shows where the prices fell when you looked at homes, and it has increments of $50,000. What it showed us in 2020 is that the average home price went up, and it actually went up in the different price quarters. And so it shows people were investing more in their real estate. Some of them had to because prices were up, and that pushed that up. All right, when we looked at the sales for December, the 99, in December, almost 85% of the homes sold above county market value, and that's another indicator of higher prices that were paid both for existing homes and for homes that people were attempting to move into to maybe improve their residential equity. So lots of activity. 2 full pages. We don't usually see that in December, even though there is sometimes lots of interest at year end. Homes are available. People that have left the area for employment or other purposes usually don't want to keep them over the winter. Sometimes there's some negotiating that can take place. This year, still more people trying to buy a home. All right, we had 66 commercial sales during 2020. That's a very good number. We had a couple of sizable businesses that sold. Windcraft, been in the news just recently. It was a $6.7 million sale. On Broadway in Winona at Franklin, there's a fairly new apartment complex. It's called Alexander Park Villas, and that sold for $1.7 million. And then in December, we had a portion of the Target parking lot at Target in Winona that sold to Burger King. There's going to be a new Burger King coming, $700,000. And it shows you the value of commercial land in Winona. I'm not taking time this morning to talk about all the other communities in the county, but St. Charles, Lewiston, significant sales there. I'll be meeting with them and just let them know some of the sales that took place. Most of the time, they're pretty much on top of it. All right, other commercial projects underway. We're looking right out our window, Fastenal, a very, very large project. Cotter High School, significant addition there, and that work is underway. And also work that we don't see too much, but taking place at Bay State. And Bay State has become actually a pioneer, and they've gained quite a reputation for themselves doing business in a number of states with a flour that has increased health benefits, and it's been very, very widely and graciously received. Okay, and this is really needed. We have a new residential development that will be coming on Carbon Heights in 2021. Also, there is a platted residential development in Pleasant Valley, and we hope and expect that some of the first lots there will become available. The gap, however, is in the middle. There are a few homes, starter homes, some of them need work, that are available, and there are homes available above 400,000. But the whole arena in the middle is really challenged. And it may be coming to the time where, as a county, with all of our cities and townships, we have a meeting or two and just talk about how we can foster locations for prospective parties coming to Winona County. And I'll mention this, I'll tie it into the census. We are going to be down in the census. It is a given. Question is how much. And it will become extremely important to be prepared to challenge the census in any location that we think population should be higher. I had one major challenge in 2010, and that was at La Crescent. So we had about 50 that were included in Houston County. It took over a year, but they did move to Winona County, and that was the correct location. But it was a new area, and when the census is operating over an entire country, we have little areas like that that become confusing. I think we want to be very, very diligent on that. When the census does have the final reports, they are working on them at present. This was the weekend that the numbers were to be given to the president. Those would result in our congressional districts and apportionment for them. The census about a month ago said that they were still working on the data that was collected. They were going to need more time, and I think they should have that. Time accuracy is really the important key. So hopefully that does get done, and we'll have numbers later in the spring, and we can take a look at those. All right, that was just kind of a side I wanted to mention. You'll see a complete listing of our commercial sales, and then there's a complete listing of the rural land sales. I wanted to mention real quickly about the vital records. We are working on recalling our marriage certificates. We have 90,000, thanks to the CARE grant and thanks to a lot of support from Administrator Fritz. We were able to image all of the 90,000. And we got help from a wide variety of county employees. And I say variety because we had people from the LAC helping who normally are not in our records, although they have a bank amount of their own. And we had people from personnel. We had some temp people that were helping at the county. And they all came together and did one phenomenal job. And that presented very little additional expense to us. We drew from people that we had, and they all came in just in the most positive fashion and got that project done. Now the recall we're working on, that's challenging, but we'll get there. It shows that our births are down just a little bit in 2020. The deaths, I may expect, they are up a few, and the marriages are down. And I'm a little bit surprised by that. There was some thought with the virus, COVID, that the marriage numbers would be up. Initially, they were. We had people coming from Wisconsin, from all over Minnesota, because for 2 weeks we were open, the other places were closed. That put us a little bit ahead, but since then it's just been a little quieter. We did get special legislation to issue marriage licenses remotely, and that's worked really well. So we're keeping the people at a distance. All right, one last thing, mortgage fraud across the country is at the highest level in history. Through our programs, we have the ability through email to contact parties when a mortgage is recorded. And this has become available. I've spent considerable time looking at the program, and I think in 2021, it would it'd be the right direction for us to go. We don't have significant forgery problems in Winona County at present, but this is one of those things that it would seem like we would want to move ahead with it rather than wait for it to happen. If you're notified and you've refinanced or you've recorded a mortgage, you should be good to go. But if you haven't done any financing and there's no reason that a lien should be recorded on your property, you immediately want to look into that. And that's the benefit of this program. We've talked with some other counties that have it in place, and they have very, very positive comments. So I'll leave you with that, and that's one of a number of initiatives that we're working on for 2021. And thank you for the time.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt.
Well, I do want to share with the whole board, I received over the weekend an unsolicited phone call, and they left a message, and they had high praise for Bob and his department, the work that they do with them on a daily basis, and also Frankie, who does a lot of the beacon, the maps and everything, high praise for that work too. And you don't often get those calls. You usually get negative calls. You don't usually get good calls. So I do want to pass that on, that you know, the citizens do appreciate all the work that your office and people are doing, Bob. So.
Commissioner Ward, thank you. That really means a lot. We have really been pushed. There's been a lot of activity. There have been people in. We've had a lot of calls. And I want to recognize the people in our office, just as Steve did this morning. I think Nancy, Lori, Sarah, and Sue, they've been outstanding. We worked some time at home, but we had people here at the counter, and we needed to call people in. So we try to use the distancing. We absolutely use masks. We sanitize twice a day, trying to do the best we can for everyone. And these folks can't get sick because we will really be challenged. So we thank you for the compliment and for bringing that forward. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, a lot of information there, a lot of moving pieces.
If I could just add one last thing, the information that you got today is, these are numbers from the past week. That doesn't always happen with your agendas. And thanks to our office having timely spreadsheets, we had the numbers. Thanks to Maureen, Heidi, and Ken, they were able to get in the agenda today. And that it just really means a lot. If we have them, let's get them to you. Thank you.
With that point, can we, you know, it's in our agenda, but not, the public always doesn't search through our agenda. Can we put all that information in a quick, on the webpage?
Yeah.
Some type of quick link that.
If it's in the agenda, you can have it on the webpage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think then we can just direct people to that, and it's easy for them to find, and they can look it over and see what's
Talking
happening.
about Bob's report.
Yes,
Yeah.
the sales and
Right.
everything. It's all public. It's all
Yeah.
public information,
Right.
so
Right.
people could know what's going on.
The township officers and two other groups that have requested, you know, the update. And typically, you know, we do that in person, but
Right.
they're going to be emailing to the membership.
The members. Yes, that's always a highlight of one of their meetings.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Did anybody else have any questions for Bob? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. Moving on, 8.2, discuss and or appoint citizen advisory committee volunteers. And we have a number. The one thing that we didn't put in this agenda, I noted, is that we didn't discuss our own committee appointments. And so that probably needs to be on our next agenda, where we look at our own committees and make sure that we're all covered on those. All right, so this is talking about the advisory committee volunteers. And in no particular order, does anybody have an order they want to, or a process or methodology of how to make these determinations?
Take them in the order that they're in the agenda.
We can take them the order that's on page 249, item 8.2. Starts off with Board of Adjustment. And
Madam Chair,
yes, Commissioner Kavesi.
last night I received an email from one of the applicants for the Health and Human Services Advisory Committee, and she was asking that her name be removed from the list. I forwarded that to Mr. Fritz, and But as far as I know, the whole board has not been informed.
What name was that?
That was Dr. Catherine Fry, F-R-I-E.
Okay.
She
All right.
had increased responsibilities at the university and apologized and asked that her name be removed.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank
So we'll
you.
take Dr. Fry, Catherine Fry, off the Health and Human Services.
Yes, thank you. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, understandably, yeah.
Yeah.
Responsibilities. All right. So if we go down the list, we've got the Board of Adjustments. There are 3 vacancies, and we received 5 applications. One is the reappointment of Mr. Bob Reddick, and then there were 4 new applications. So
I
any,
would support reappointing Bob Reddick.
okay. Do we have support to reappoint Bob Reddick?
Meyer,
Second.
Yes.
Should we do these by motions? That's a motion to reappoint?
Motion, yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Jacob makes a motion to reappoint. Did I hear Commissioner Olson second it?
Second.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion and a second to reappoint Bob Reddick. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
and Commissioner Ward will vote aye. So we have Bob Reddick passes to be reappointed. And I think he has a, not that it is, he's got actually another 2 times that he can be, this is his first reappointment on that board. All right, and then we have 4 other names with needing 2.
I would make a motion to appoint Jordan Potter and Don Evanson.
Okay, we have a motion to appoint Jordan Potter and Don Evanson. I'll second that for discussion.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yeah, thanks. I would love to see some new folks on the committees. And so I would support Jordan Potter, but I know that Don Evanson was on the Planning Commission when I was on and served out 3 terms. So if Commissioner Jacob was willing to separate those, I would support Jordan Potter.
I'll amend my motion to state appoint Jordan Potter to Board of Adjustments.
And I'll agree to that amendment. So we have an amended motion to appoint Jordan Potter to one of the seats on the Board of Adjustment. Any further discussion on Mr. Potter?
Just for clarification, Board of Adjustment members, doesn't matter if they're city or city residents?
Only one can be from the
Yeah.
city. 5-member board and 1, I double checked that. Yeah. Board of Adjustment, total of 5, 4 need to be outside corporate limits. And so I think
Then Mr. Potter would be the city member.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion to appoint Jordan Potter. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes nay.
okay. Commissioner Olson,
Olson, nay.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
and Ward votes aye. So it carries 3-2 to put Jordan Potter on our Board of Adjustment. So we have one more, am I correct? And we need one more person?
Yes, 1 more.
Okay. To answer Commissioner Olson's question on city then, because Ms. Hubline is rural, Mr. Schwantz is rural, and Mr. Reddick is rural. And so we have Mr. Potter that would be city. So the next person needs to be rural, and I don't think that's a problem with, I think those candidates all live in the rural area that are
So
left.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Meyer.
yeah, so sticking with this idea of getting some new voices, I'm going to move to appoint Kelsey Fitzgerald.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Olson to appoint Kelsey Fitzgerald. Any discussion?
We know her address.
She lives out in Wiscoy Valley, so she is rural. Yes, I did ask for addresses. Relatively new member to the Winona community. I mean, 5 years or something like that. So in terms of Winona, that's a newcomer. But there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, it is. So any other discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote to appoint Kelsey Fitzgerald. Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, nay.
and Commissioner Ward, I will vote aye. So that carries. We will appoint Kelsey Fitzgerald. Now, that gives us a full slate for the Board of Adjustment. And staff will have to notify them because they do, the Board of Adjustment does have a meeting this month. Okay, all right, so that takes care of Board of Adjustment. Moving on then to Health and Human Service Advisory. We had 6 vacancies and received 5 applications, but now we're down to 4. Well, wait now.
Yep, that's right. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm looking at my names. I crossed off Ms. Fry. Okay, any discussion on those candidates?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Meyer.
I'd like to reappoint Dr. Ruth Charles and Andrew Krantz.
Kavesi second.
All right, we have a motion to reappoint Dr. Ruth Charles and Andrew Krantz, made by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Kavesi. Any further discussion on the reappointments? Yeah, I think, yeah, we're good there because I've known Dr. Charles had been, and then I think she was off, and then she's serving again, and that's a very good thing. All right, roll call vote on reappointment of Dr. Ruth Charles and Andrew Krantz. Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
and Ward votes aye. So we will reappoint Dr. Ruth Charles and Andrew Krantz. And then we have 2 new applicants and then actually still a vacancy, I believe. So any discussion on the 2 new applicants?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Meyer.
Yeah, in reading over the applications, I saw that Mr. Larson, his first choice is really to be on the EDA, and he has an MBA, and he looks like he'd be really well qualified for that. And HHS, that committee was not his first choice. And I guess also given the kind of the recent interest that we've had from the Community Not Cages folks and folks that are concerned about social services issues, that this might be a great opportunity to advertise those openings, and perhaps we can get some of those folks represented on that board. So it's just an idea.
Very, very valid points. You're right. Going down the list, I do see Mr. Larson is number 1 committee was his choice, was the EDA, which is our next one. So Mr. Hopkins, I don't know that there was any, there was no ranking. I think that's the one committee that he applied for. If I'm not correct, please correct me. So do we have any discussion about Mr. Hopkins being appointed to that committee?
Move to appoint Timothy Hopkins.
Okay.
Kavesi second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Olson, seconded by Commissioner Kavesi to appoint Timothy Hopkins to our Health and Human Service Advisory. Any discussion? We'll do roll call. Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Jacob, aye.
And Commissioner Ward votes aye. So we'll place Timothy Hopkins on our Health and Human Service Advisory, and then we'll direct staff to, that's one we can add that we have openings for citizens. Okay, moving down the line here, Economic Development Authority. There were no reappointments, and we have one vacancy. And do we have any discussion with, we had four applicants. Commissioner
Madam
Meyer?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would, I think that Mr. Larson would be a new voice and looks to me like he's well qualified. So I would move to appoint Mr. Jeff Larson.
Kavesi, second.
All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Kavesi to appoint Jeff Larson to the Economic Development Authority. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Commissioner Meyer?
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi?
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob?
Jacob, aye.
And Ward votes aye. So we will appoint Mr. Larson to our Economic Development Authority. Moving down, Extension. We had two vacancies with one reappointment.
Reappoint Sydney Graydon.
Meyer will second that.
A motion by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Meyer to reappoint Sydney Graydon. Any discussion on the applicant? If not, we'll do a roll call. Commissioner Meyer?
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi?
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob?
Jacob, aye.
And Commissioner Ward votes aye. So we will reappoint Sydney Graydon. And then we had two vacancies, and we had, or no, excuse me, one vacancy and two applicants.
I'll move to appoint Ann Lubinsky.
All right, we have a motion to appoint Ann Lubinsky.
Meyer would second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Meyer to appoint Ann Lubinsky to the Extension Committee. Discussion on the applicant. Roll call vote. Commissioner Meyer?
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi?
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob?
Jacob, aye.
And Ward votes aye. So we will appoint Ann Lubinsky to the Extension Committee. And Parks and Environment Advisory. We had 6 vacancies, 10 applicants. We have reappointments available for Dale Hadler, John Howard, and Matthew Neal.
I'd move to reappoint Dale Hadler, John Howard, and Matthew Neal.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Olson to reappoint Dale Hadler, John Howard, and Matthew Neal. Any discussion on the applicants? Roll call vote. Commissioner Meyer?
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi?
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Aye. So we will reappoint Dale Hadler, John Howard, and Matthew Neal. So we have three vacancies.
I would move to appoint Don Evanson.
Okay, we have a motion for an appointment of Don Evanson.
I'll second that.
Okay. So we have a motion by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Olson to appoint Don Evanson. Any discussion? Do a roll call vote. Commissioner Meyer?
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi?
Kavesi votes no.
Okay, Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Commissioner Jacob?
Jacob, aye.
And Commissioner Ward will vote aye. So we will appoint Commissioner, or to the Park and Environment, Don Evanson. All right, that's one. We have two more vacancies.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Meyer.
I would nominate Mr. Sparks. He looked like he had great qualifications to me, and that's his first choice.
Okay, we have a nomination for James Sparts.
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner Meyer moved, Commissioner Olson seconded the nomination of James Sparts. Any discussion on the applicant? We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
and Commissioner Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
and Commissioner Ward will vote aye. So we are appointing James Sparts.
Make a motion to appoint Amanda Gentry.
Okay.
Meyer would second that.
Okay, we have a motion to appoint Amanda Gentry, made by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Meyer. Any discussion on the applicant appointment? Roll call, Commissioner Meyer,
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi,
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Olson, aye.
Jacob,
Jacob, aye.
Commissioner Ward votes aye. So that's approved, Amanda Gentry. So our Parks and Environment will be the three reappointments: Dale Hadler, John Howard, Matthew Neal, and then new would be Amanda Gentry, James Sparts, and Don Evanson. Okay. All right, and now going down the list, we have planning, but I guess if the liberty of the board direction to go to the Stockton, Rolling Stone, Minnesota City, because we have some, well, let's see, we have, we technically, well, normally, I guess, we don't put the two people, the same person on two committees, because in the past, we've always had good applicants. Now, on the, is there any objections to discussing the Stockton, Rolling Stone, Minnesota watershed?
Well, Madam Chair.
What, Commissioner Kavesi, were you holding something up for me to?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we've just appointed Mr. Sparts to the Parks and Environment Committee, and I
Right.
believe Lynn Carlson, since she already serves on the Planning Commission, would not be eligible to serve on two commissions. I'm not sure if she lives in the Stockton, Rolling Stone, Minnesota City Watershed District. So I would recommend re-advertising for these vacancies.
Okay, just clarification, Lynn Carlson, I did have a conversation with her. She has moved. She lives in Rolling Stone.
Oh,
So that-
thank you.
Yeah, she has moved within the last year or so. So she does live out there. You're right, she did put that down as a number 3. She is eligible for reappointment on the Planning Commission.
Yes.
Okay, so and you're right, Mr. Sparts, we did just put on the Parks and Environment. So is that one we would want to re-advertise for? Wishes
Yes.
of the board?
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds good.
As well as the Personnel Board of Appeals.
Yes.
Right, and the Personal Board of Appeals, I know I had a gentleman that was trying to apply and it was like he was 10 minutes too late. So hopefully the cutoff, hopefully he can be contacted and see if he's still interested in being appointed to that.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
the Stockton, Rolling Stone, Minnesota City Watershed Board will meet next Monday at 7 o'clock, and it is a Zoom meeting. So if anyone is interested in applying or wants to attend as a citizen, if they did not get on this round, that's always available. So Monday night at 7 p.m. Sheila Harms has emailed out the Zoom information. That'll be the first Zoom meeting for that group, so.
and I have a question because in a chart that I've been carrying around since last year, I have, and we need maybe staff to clarify this, I have down that Mr. Frisbee, is that, that should have been available for reappointment. The watershed I have down is that they are 3-year term, 2 3-year terms. And maybe we need to get clarification from that board if that is indeed a reappointment. And I have that there's a William Haxton, he's good for another year. And I had that Carlos Dingfelder had fulfilled his, and it's not in our board packet, but it's in a chart that I've carried around for some time that had all the committees on it. So I'd ask staff to verify if we need to reappoint Frisbee to that committee. But we can put that on our list to re-advertise. All right. Okay, Planning Commission. This one's kind of, I did not anticipate being board chair this morning, so I do want some guidance from the board. I don't know that I'm ready to appoint, and I see we do not have a Planning Commission meeting this month. So I can, and we meet again next Tuesday morning. I can make those appointments, but I do want advisement from the full county board. We have 5 vacancies. We received 9 applications. There is reappointment. People are eligible for reappointment are Patrick Byron, Lynn Carlson, and Kelly Stanich. And then new applications, let's see, we can take a couple of those out of there. Arlie Herber would be a new one. Louis Ryman. Let's see, Mr. Evanson was appointed to the Parks and Environment. Mr. Jordan was appointed to the Board of Adjustment. Kelsey Fitzgerald was also appointed to the Board of Adjustment, and Mr. Larson,
He was
we
appointed.
put him on the EDA.
Yeah, you have less choice than you thought you had, I guess.
Yeah. And again, I didn't anticipate, exactly what we would have. So actually, if we take the 3 reappointments and the 2, that fulfills our 9 spots. Am I correct?
The 5 spots.
The 5 spots that are open, the total of the 9 members on that particular board.
Yes.
Any discussion? Do we feel we have anything else to determine that we should change anything other than reappoint and put down new applicants?
I would support the 3 reappointments and Arlie Herber.
Okay. Any other comments from the other board members at this time?
Madam Chair.
Stephanie Nuttall, yes.
Good morning. I apologize for interrupting. I believe that one of the vacancies may be the Board of Adjustment liaison position, which would be the person that serves on both. So you would want to make sure that you're not appointing 5 and not having 5 members on the Board of Adjustment and 9 members with no overlap.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and as our rules of operating have been, that the Board of Adjustments makes that decision who will be the liaisons.
I believe that they make a recommendation as to who would be that liaison. It's still up to you to make the appointment, but they do usually make a recommendation at their first meeting, which would be held in about 2 weeks.
Right. Okay, so we're saying then we only have, technically, if we reappoint the 3, we would have just 1 member.
That's correct.
Seat. Okay, because the one is, you're right, is a Board of Adjustment liaison. Any further discussion? Any input?
Madam Chair?
Yeah, Commissioner Kavesi.
What is the date for the training session? Because this particularly involves the Board of Adjustment and the Planning Commission members.
January 14th.
Okay, so next week would still be enough time to
let them
get people on board for that training. Okay,
right.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Being that I got Stephanie Nuttall online, Stephanie, are you going to be the lead on this training?
Yes, myself and Ms. Qualley, and I believe County Attorney Sonneman will be involved as well if she's able to.
I have some constituent concerns about some of the appointments to the planning. Now, I understand planning is advisory, and everything that the planning commission does come to the full county board. And there's still a lot of people out in the public that don't understand Board of Adjustment. They always feel that the county board has some role in that, and it, unfortunately, in my opinion, unfortunately, we do not determine their decisions. They, as we well know, to overturn a Board of Adjustment, you go to court. But the planning is, everything does come to the county board. With the ongoing litigation and allegations and seeing the chain of emails that were produced as part of the article in the Post, I have constituents that are very concerned about reappointing some of the people that were listed on those emails, partook in the land stewardship, manipulating of our boards and, and collusion and open meeting laws. And so I've got to take this under advisement, and I'll think about this, and I'm going to have a conversation with Attorney Sonneman, and then I'll be ready to make a final decision next Tuesday morning, if that's okay with the board. Hearing no objections. So Ms. Nuttall, part of your training, and I know you go over this all the time, and it's this quasi-judicial and quasi-legislative and everything, and that will be, that will be covered in detail, and people understand what their role is.
That would be the goal of the training, yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll leave it at that. And the training is Zoom, so all members that are appointed, plus can members of the public attend the training?
It's an open.
It's open, it's open. So any member of the public that wants to know the ins and outs of the training, they're welcome to join in, and that there's a link on the county website.
That's correct. They'll be able to join, but not participate.
Right, they can listen, but yeah, okay, all right. So if anybody out there wants to, spend their, was that a Thursday night?
4 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, please join in. It will be educational if you want to learn.
Very important.
Yeah, if you want to
Very important.
learn. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that takes care of our committees. Is there any other committees or any other appointments? The one we didn't have on here was the library board. Is that still that person?
Selco?
Yeah. We usually have a library board, and I don't know, I don't have,
We don't.
it was, okay, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair? Madam
Yes,
Chair?
Commissioner Meyer.
But I was very interested in that, and so I actually did attend their last board meeting, and then I exchanged some emails with the chair, and we have citizen, they didn't all happen to attend the meeting I was at, but we have a full contingent of citizens already.
Okay, all right, good.
And it's published on their website.
Okay, and my little chart says the person term is, well, reappointment, I guess we did it last year, 2020, and the term ends on 2022 is on my little sheet here. So are we all covered? And we know staff will need to re-advertise for Health and Human Services and Personal Board of Appeals and the Stockton Rolling Stone Watershed. All right.
And Madam Chair, not to forget SEMSHRA as well.
Yes, yeah, that was at our last meeting.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right, that takes care of that. Item number 8.3, approve, deny, future agenda item to discuss respectful workplace policy. And Commissioner Meyer, this was one that you.
Yes, so this would be the second time we talk about it. And so I guess I'd be looking for the 3 commissioners to support a future discussion where we would review and potentially recommit to our respectful workplace policy and our communication guidelines.
All right.
So I'll make that a motion, I guess.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Meyer to have a future agenda item to discuss respectful workplace policy.
Second.
Okay, a second by Commissioner Olson. Any further discussion? A question, is this just, are you asking for just an internal discussion? Do you want outside discussion facilitators, or what is the intent? Just to review what's currently there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess if it's up to us at that time, if we want to ask for outside review or changes, yeah, but
Okay.
that,
Any
I
other-
don't have that set. That would be part of what we would discuss.
Okay. Any other discussion? Well, I guess I was, Karen Sonneman muddied the waters. In your own language.
Yes, I use that term, yes.
Yes.
It is,
So I do have, and maybe this is when we discuss that, if we're considered employees, the whole question is if we're considered employees or we're different than employees. And pardon me?
Yeah.
It depends.
Right.
Well, and so going back to our, where the question comes, brought it up again, is in our consent agenda, 7.12, approve revisions to drug and alcohol testing policy 2.04. It talks about, employees throughout that policy. Okay, are we considered employees in that policy, but not this policy? And again, that's something that I won't ask for an answer right now, but I guess when we talk about the respectful workplace, and again, it was pointed out, it's something we can agree to regardless if we're employees or independent others. So that'll be part of the discussion, I guess. All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Olson to move this to a future agenda item. Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Meyer?
Meyer votes aye.
Commissioner Kavesi?
Kavesi votes aye.
Commissioner Olson?
Olson, aye.
Okay, Commissioner Jacob?
Jacob, nay.
And Ward, just to get some discussion, I'll vote aye. So, all right, carries. We will put that on a future, we'll put that on a future agenda item. 8.4, discuss process for gathering information for social and criminal justice services. And Commissioner Meyer.
Yeah, Madam Chair. This would be our third conversation about it. So we actually talk about it today.
Right.
At what I am looking for, I assume that everyone has gotten a set of emails asking for outside facilitation. And I guess what I would like to do today is ask staff to put together some proposals for us. And I'm thinking of a listening session of some kind. I want to hear, many things have been brought up in the course of the comments that have been made to us by the individuals who were concerned about social services, criminal justice, social justice. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to give them a forum, and I want them to feel as if they have been heard. So that's one thing that I'm asking staff to come back. I think there are a number of other ways in which we can involve the individuals. I understand that with the new RAP Plus grant, the social intercept map has to be redone, and it has to be a community conversation. So I think that's an appropriate place. Ruth Charles contacted at least me and Commissioner Kavesi about potentially being involved, the HHS advisory committee being involved in conversations about jail programming. And I think there are committees, other committees that we could potentially come back with. But so in general, my request would be to kind of put that to staff and ask them to come back to us with some ideas.
Okay. Anybody else have any discussion? Seems to be reasonable. So would we be directing administration to lead this gathering of information, how we're going to gather
Well,
information?
yeah, I mean, we just work with all the players. I mean, the attorney's office, the sheriff's office, HHS, and gather what they think might, be opportunities for inclusion of these new voices in the process.
How about, do we have anybody at like Department of Corrections?
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, there's resources at the Department of Corrections. We're already engaged with them in talking about, the facilities and so forth to get the rules and understanding of, the regulations and things like that. So if there's a need for that, once there's the listening sessions and so forth, if there's a need to reach out to, for alternatives or, that kind of thing, I think that would be appropriate. The way I understand this direction right now is that we're looking for ways to listen to the community and engage the community.
Right. And a lot of people have indicated it, not only, our meeting here today, the Zoom part is just not conducive to good dialogue.
Yeah, it's
and
harder.
good discussion in a lot of different respects. And so I don't know what our timeline is, if we'll be allowed to meet, once we get, if Karen Sanis gets all this vaccination done and everything, if we're going to be allowed to meet. But a lot of people have said, we're missing the round table where people can sit across the table from each other and have, good, honest discussions and bring information. So I don't know if there's a timeline or, an urgency to get this done, tomorrow, or to me, it's an ongoing thing because things change and different counties are doing different things. And I would even say, maybe ask the sheriff, Steve Buswell or something, reach out across the state of Minnesota and where are the successes? Where are the good, that we may not even have thought about, doing here in Winona County. So I think it's an ongoing process, not a one and done type of thing. But I think, Commissioner Meyer, are you happy with how this may move forward?
Yeah, what I don't want is for it to die, and for the folks that have a lot of energy and I think probably quite a bit of anger, that they actually, while we have their interest and while they want to participate, that we actually engage them. So I wouldn't want it to drag out for forever. And that would be my only concern. So.
Okay. All right. So
Madam Chair, this is Karen Sanis. Yes. One of the things that I would like to bring up too, and we've been doing some of this within the community to try and have those face-to-face come to the round table to have these discussions where we have facilities with large enough conference rooms where we can social distance, we can wear our masks, we can have our dry erase boards where we can talk, to be able to have those discussions within like Health and Human Services. And so we've been trying to do that a little bit more because, like you said, we are in this because we're people and we want to be with people. So I would entertain maybe holding a smaller work group of HHS, Health and Human Services Advisory Committee, let's say at the Winona History Center in their very large conference room where we can social distance. We have hand sanitizer available. We have breaks to be able to social distance, things like that. So just something that we're bringing forward. And also with individuals that do receive their first shot of the immunization, they do initially become 85% protected. And then with the second dose, will become 95% protected with the Moderna vaccine. So that is also something to throw out there as we move forward through this.
Okay. All right. Any other? Thank you for that.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Commissioner Kavesi.
Yes, I would also leave the option for Zoom participation because although sometimes dialogue has been difficult, the number of people who have been tuning in using Zoom, I think, has definitely increased. So I think our public availability has increased. So I would like to keep both options on the table.
Thank you for that point. I think I would agree. Yes, Zoom has allowed higher participation, and I think Zoom is probably here to stay for a lot of our meetings. All right. Anything else on 8.4? All right, moving on. 8.5, receive monthly finance and budget update. Pat, are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Pat.
Okay, we'll be doing the update on November. November's cash started out at 8 million. Actual revenues were at 8.6, and the revenues were 1.9, and cash is 14.7. For the year, started out, and this is in the general revenue fund, 13.4. Actual revenues were 20.2 million, and actual expenses were 18.9 million, ending cash is 14.7. The variance is a positive 1.2 compared to a negative 5.7 in 2019. For all of the funds that are being represented in this document, it's a positive 1.9 compared to a negative 4.3. I do want to point out at this point, community services is at a negative 21,000 as of November. Right, and if I would look at it as of today, it's negative 341,000, but there are some things that we still have to close the books. So we will have another tax settlement for the taxes that were collected from November to December. I do think we will end up negative. It just depends on what is actually occurring with the things that still need to occur at the end of the year to close the book. Any questions on this document?
Nope, seeing none.
Okay, then we'll go to the summary. Summary starts beginning cash at 16.5 million. Actual revenues are 40.6. Actual expenses are 38.7. Ending cash is 18.7. The variances again are the 1.8 compared to a negative 431,000. Any questions on this document? If not, we can go to the budget, summary budget. Through November, it's at 92%. There are some funds that are actually higher than the 97. That would be general fund, and also human services are above at that point. So we'll just kind of monitor here through December. And like I said, is human services. I'll probably be bringing I will be bringing a resolution to you to basically transfer funds from the general fund over to human services to make that fund whole. So any questions on this document? If none, this is your November report. Also, I guess I did mention that the interest that was collected, we're at 311,405. So we're above our budget for 2020. Thank you.
Good, thank you. All right, that wraps up our general business. Let's see, nobody else had anything, and I am not going to have anything either. So I guess entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion made by Commissioner Jacob, seconded by Commissioner Olson to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 We're adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy this beautiful sunshiny day.